Sometimes in life we're going to fail, we can't always get it right, but when we do fail we try to justify that, and that's only a natural process of learning how to improve. If you run, whether that's 100 metres, 800 metres or even a marathon, each time you race the goal is to beat your last time, and if you don't, you justify it by saying I need to go faster. But when it comes to carp fishing, it's a whole different ball game. If we fail to catch, or better known as blanking, we justify that failure. We start saying things like, we weren't using the right rigs, we hadn't got the right colour bait, I should have used a yaller, the weather conditions were wrong. Now at this point, you've now fallen into what I call the rabbit hole. If you've been carp fishing a long time like me, you will have already made lots of mistakes and made your way back out the rabbit hole. Well done. Not only are you out the rabbit hole, but you've emerged a better angler, and that's what I want for you. If you fell down the rabbit hole, don't worry, I'm not trying to tell you how to suck an egg. If you don't know what that means, it's a term my granddad used to use. It means tell you how to fish. All I'm trying to do is help you make sense of it all. I'm going to cast this solid PVA bag out and see if I can get me a carp. That's all 3 rods out now. Bit of a late start for me on this session. Didn't get here till about 4:30, and I've only just got all of the rods out now at 5:25. 5:25, still daylight. Yes, it's early March and spring is on its way. The lighter nights are coming. So let's talk setup. On the left rod, I've got a solid PVA bag, and the same on the middle rod. On the right rod, I've got a completely different rig with a completely different setup. But in the morning, I'll show you that and we'll take a look at how you tie it. For now, I'm going to get the kettle on and get settled in. Doesn't really matter what time of year it is out of the 4 seasons. I think the most pinnacle moment or best opportunity for you to get a bite is just before dark or a couple of hours after. So what I've learned is to reel in, leaving me plenty time to get set up, prepare everything and get the rods out before it looks like this. I've always used one saying in life: follow the 5 P's. Planning, preparation prevents poor performance, and spending them couple of hours getting the rods out before it went dark has paid off, because just behind me there's a lovely carp in the net. Look at that, absolutely nailed in the centre of the bottom lip. So while I get my camera, my scales, my waist sling and everything else set up, I'm leaving him in the landing net. It's good advice and you should be doing the same too. Early March, and with spring just around the corner, first carp of the session on the bank. Lovely scaly 16 pounder. Job's a good one. Ooh, nearly went then. Let's get this one back. Z-head's got a bit of a problem, and this is the problem. Look, follow my finger, see what's happening? It's gone all blurry, and that happens all the way up this side. And the reason for that is I took my phone in to get it repaired because it was all cracked and broke, and it would appear that a little bit of dirt is still on the camera lens and it's now trapped underneath the screen protector, so I can't wipe it off. So every now and again you might see a little blur. I will try my best to avoid getting that in any of the next clips. 10 minutes later, 12 pound 12 ounce. Not bad. Carp feeding and I'm happy. I was just finishing my brew and about getting the sleeping bag. Third one of the night, just gone 1 o'clock, and taken on the left rod, 18 pound 2 ounce. Chuffed. What a way to kick off the session. 3 on the bounce. Lovely. While this one swims away, thank you for all your kind words and get well soon messages for Lenny. It's really appreciated. Thank you very much. I think the hardest thing about carp fishing is try and get out of your nice, warm, cosy sleeping bag. Ain't it? That's me up and about, ready to start the day. I mentioned earlier that I was using PVA solid bags on the left and the middle rod, but before I tell you the rig I'm using on the right rod, I just want to say there's far too many rigs out there these days that are so-called the best rig. So to try and help you get out the rabbit hole, I've kept it very simple. I'm using a leg clip system with a 10-inch soft coated braid as a hook link and a standard hair rig. The bait choice is a CCW acid almond dumbbell wafter. To make the hook bait more attractive, you can add a PVA mesh bag. These are easier to tie than the PVA solid bags. If you're fishing at a distance, just use a smaller PVA mesh bag. Just reeled the left rod in to give it a recast, and look at that. Great big mussel stuck on it. Ugh. Not going to get a bite if it's stuck on that, am I? While I'm sitting here waiting for a run, just been onto a popular carp forum on Facebook and asked a question. My question was, people call carp fishing a sport, but is it really? And it's literally blown up. I have never read so many comments about one simple question. It just went on and on and on and on and on and on. I appreciated all of the feedback, but I really was just looking for a simple yes or no. Carp fishing to me is a hobby that I take very seriously, of course. I want to enjoy it, and it's so controversial at the moment. People can't even decide whether it's a sport or a hobby. It doesn't really matter whether it's a sport or a hobby. Carp fishing is what it means to you. Like I said, I was just passing time while I was waiting for a run. If there's one thing that gets repeated in nearly every carp fishing video, is location is key. And believe me, that is the one thing you should listen to. While I'm doing nothing and just standing about for a couple of minutes, like do a few shout outs. First one, thank you to all the new subscribers over the last 2 months. Your support has been overwhelming, to be honest, and it really is appreciated. If you are enjoying the videos, let me know by giving them a thumbs up. Next shout, the new members that have joined this year. I was down here renewing my permit a couple of days back and I bumped into a fella called Ant. He was with his missus Becky and he's a new member joining the res this year. So shout out to the both of you and all of the new members that have joined the res. And there we have it. A stunning 17.5 pounder. Well chuffed with this one, and it just goes to show that the tactics I'm using can work for you as well. Doesn't have to be complicated, keeping it nice and simple. Job's a good one, and it's been a while since I give a carp a kiss. There you go, beauty. That's that carp back in the water. Quick shout out to Taylor and Leanne and their 1-week-old baby. They came walking past just as I was unhooking the carp, and we got talking about this, that and the other, as you do. So guys, congratulations and all the best for the future. Keep hitting the same spot, and result, 16 pound 4 ounce. This one a little bit darker in colour. Lovely. Chuffed how the session's going, just using simple tactics. Let's talk lake beds. There's 4 different types of lake bed. They might be made up of clay, silt, gravel or weed. So many rigs to choose from. Which one would you pick? Well, I would recommend keeping it very simple, and I do use a standard hair rig for fishing on gravel, clay or in the silt. Sometimes I mix it up a little bit and use a German rig, again because it's another easy rig to tie. If you put a pop-up on a German rig, you can also use it in the low-lying weed. When it comes to weed, I try and avoid that as much as possible. I hate fishing in the weed, but if I have to, I'll pop zigs out. Always nice to get a couple of carp on the bank, so really happy and chuffed with how the session's going so far. Winter's actually been quite kind to me. Each time I've come, I've managed to walk away with a couple of carp under my belt, and some of those have even been over the 20 pound mark. What can you expect from Bedtime Stories carp adventures going into spring over the next couple of weeks? Well, I've got a couple of sessions planned and then I'm off over to France chasing some of them big French girls. And I'm really looking forward to that one. But for now, I've got my fingers crossed, see if I can get me another carp. £12.2. Not hitting into the bigger ones on this session, but hitting into them. £21.2. Freezing cold block of ice. After working my way through a few of the smaller carp, hit into another 20. Yeah. Anyway, what a perfect end to the night, because I'm going to call it a night. Stunning. Lovely. With more and more people coming into carp fishing each year, carp fishing has definitely changed. It's become a business, an industry, a sector, which is fair play. But what there is out there is lots of opinions, and everybody's opinion is going to be different. You might have been catching carp on the same rig for years, but I guarantee somebody will say you're doing it wrong. Think about this. If carp are so wise and clever, why haven't they stopped eating round boilies yet? What would I know? I'm just a guy who goes fishing with his dog. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching.